Female narcissist, easygoing guy. My name is Jared Mello, the wizard of radical self-respect and the shepherd of black sheep. This is a under-talked about area because I think when a lot of people hear the word narcissist, they assume people are talking about a male narcissist. But that is certainly not always the case. There are plenty of female narcissists out there too. And when I talk about the behaviors of a female narcissist in this video, understand it is not exclusive to just a female narcissist. Male narcissists will also do many of the same things. But let's go over this dynamic here. The female narcissist, when she meets the easygoing guy, she's really gonna turn on the charm and love bomb him. Often, she'll be a little prettier than a lot of the women the easygoing guy has been with previously, and that all adds to the impact that she has over him. She will often use sex to get her way, and she'll throw all sorts of fun and sex at him in the beginning during the love bombing phase. She'll often tell him how awesome that she thinks he is, how attractive he is, how special he is, or if he's good at work, or whatever it is that he does, she will make sure that she blows his head up. And this all has a powerful impact on the easygoing guy. And this is how it starts. This is how the female narcissist gets her foot in the door. And love bombing in general from a female narcissist has a devastating effect on guys, especially if they're not used to that kind of female attention. If they're not used to being successful with women, the female narcissist love bombing can be extra powerful because they are not used to that kind of attention. And then, all of a sudden, you throw all of this sex on top of it, and oh my goodness, the claws of the female narcissist are in deep. And the trauma bond has just begun. But that's usually the beginning. The easygoing guy can often turn into the enabler father if they wind up getting married and having kids together. But even if not, it depends a lot on what kind of female narcissist it is. Because depending on what her version of supply is, it will mean a lot. Sometimes the image she really cares about is her personal appearance. And if that's the case, she might not be as interested in getting married and having kids. Other times, she wants the image of having the perfect family, with the perfect kids, and the perfect house, with the white picket fence. But again, this all depends. But as time goes on, and the female narcissist begins to get her way, because often she will be very controlling, she will often be domineering, and she has found a way to get what she wants from the easygoing guy. Maybe she will blow up and have a temper tantrum and throw hissy fits when she doesn't get her way. Maybe she will use a silent treatment. Maybe she will stonewall him, or maybe she will threaten to leave. But whatever it is, it winds up working, and she learns how to play him like a fiddle a lot of times. Often there will be a lot of double standards involved too, where if the guy were to do the same things to her that she does to him, it would be the end of the world. And that's why they say it's rules for thee, but not for me when it comes to the female narcissist. And then it's that way with any narcissist for that matter. But as time goes on, she has found the ways to control him and get what she wants out of him. And that's why the relationship continues, because when the guy is in a trauma bond like this, he's afraid to leave a lot of times. He thinks that he needs her. He thinks that things wouldn't go well for him if he were to leave. Maybe he's afraid to be alone. Maybe he's a people pleaser. Maybe he doesn't like conflict very much, but all of this stuff contributes, so he dislikes the status quo. He wants things to be even keel, because like I said, often he won't like conflict. And a lot of the dynamic will depend on if there's kids or not, or if they've been married or not. But when there is no marriage, she's really just gotten him to think that he needs her. And unfortunately, the easygoing guy often believes her when she says this kind of thing. But this is the dynamic where no matter what the guy does, it is not good enough. She will subtly belittle him, or not so subtly belittle him sometimes, devalue him, tell him how he does everything wrong, and maybe she'll try to control the finances too, and say he's doing everything wrong in that regard as well. But the belittling, the devaluing, the criticism, behind closed doors in particular, it can be pretty devastating. Now, if the female narcissist is more overt, she might even be brazen enough to do this in public as well. But if it's a covert narcissist, that won't happen as much in public as it will behind closed doors. But this is also the situation where if there's kids involved, they can often lose respect for the easygoing guy because he has become the enabler father. And when push comes to shove, the female narcissist is able to bully him around and get her way. And the kids see this. The kids are like, oh man, mom's able to bully dad around, and she's the one wearing the pants in the relationship. She's the one pulling the strings, and she's the one in charge. And again, if you are an easygoing guy in this situation, you have to learn to be assertive. You have to get comfortable saying no, and you have to learn to be more okay with conflict. A lot of the easygoing guys don't like conflict very much, which makes them, it turns them into a people pleaser, it turns them into more of a doormat, and it turns them into somebody that is willing to be a pushover. And the female narcissist knows this full well, and she takes advantage of it consistently. But the female narcissist, depending on what her version of supply is, if it's her personal appearance and her physical appearance, she'll be more likely to be the one that cheats. And granted, for a female narcissist, especially if they're pretty, there's plenty of guys they can have in their rotation to give them supply if they so choose. Now, others, if their version of image is having the perfect family and kids, less likely they'll cheat, but definitely not impossible. They can still definitely cheat as well. But from the outside looking in, this might look like a healthy relationship, but behind closed doors, you would see what's really going on. And what's really going on is the female narcissist is pulling the strings, she's in charge. Depending on her go-to manipulation tactics, she might be a bombastic and mean bully. She might be giving silent treatments, she might be stonewalling, or she might use a lot of threats that she's going to end the relationship unless she gets her way. Another thing, she might weaponize guilt trips as well, and she'll say things like, if you really loved me, you would do this. And the easygoing guy, often, he's afraid of losing her, again, because he's in the trauma bond, and he thinks he does need her. Those kinds of manipulation tactics work. And the way out of this situation for the easygoing guy is to try to find a way to break free. Now, depending on how deep you are in with the female narcissist, it's going to be easier for some people to leave than others. If you're not married and you don't have any kids, yeah, you can simply break up a lot of times. But if there's marriage involved and kids involved, it's not going to be that easy. But my number one goal for the easygoing guy is to build up his sense of self-worth again, because that is something the female narcissist tears down in him. She gets him thinking everything he does is wrong, his belief in himself becomes terrible, and he might not have always had a bad belief in himself. Before the relationship, he might have been okay. Often he didn't have an amazing belief in himself, but it wasn't as bad as it is now after the devalue in a relationship. But again, often, the female narcissist acted one way in the beginning, but then as time goes on, then the colors change, and she changes her stripes, and the devaluing comes. And then, depending on what she wants, there can still be a pretty brutal discard too. And these are the situations where the guy, he is left absolutely devastated if he wasn't expecting it. And this is when, even if there was kids involved a lot of times, she can just cut him out and leave with everything and try to take him for everything he's worth. Because the female narcissist lacks empathy. So she doesn't care one bit about what happens to him. She thinks she's entitled to the world. And it can be a pretty brutal situation. And this video here is just a pretty basic outline of what it can look like. But overall, understand this. The female narcissist will be controlling. She will be devaluing. She will be very critical. She will belittle her partner, and she'll do anything she can to get her way.